Hello, ActiveSage here on the Sage channel, and today we're here to look at a new ship I've tossed together called the Skiew. This ship has, well, not really much of a purpose, but it's there because I wanted to build something that is, well, symmetrical in some ways as per usual, but also just beautiful in the way that it has a almost skeleton design to it, as you can see here. The Skiew is just sort of a odd, skewed ship. In its most basic terms, it's almost like a star-shaped structure from the front and the back. And what we're flying through right here is actually just sort of a, well, almost passageway at the top of it. Now if I was to go ahead and fly out of it and turn back around so you can actually see it, you can see this is the star-shaped thing we flew out of, and the thrusters, the large industrial thrusters that I've stuck in there right there, almost make it look like an odd face with arms reaching out to it. It's a, I don't know, the overall design is almost a religious structure in a way. It sort of gives you the feeling of cathedrals reaching out about. I've put a sage station to the right here just so you can see the basic idea of the scale of it. In the center of this Skiew, you can see there is a large open space in here. As I said, this ship doesn't necessarily have any purpose except to be, but you could, in theory, store whatever you please there, long as, of course, the thrusters that you can see in the middle don't annihilate it. Along the sides, to the right of your screen, you'll see that we do indeed have thrusters in between the pylons that reach out. All in all, there are 6 small, well, I say small, 6 large thrusters in each direction, and then 4 large industrial thrusters for forward and backwards propulsion. Overall, it is a ship I'm very proud of, just for its unique design and the fact that it still functions. If you were to actually fly this, it's mainly designed to be a drone. So if you were to go ahead and fly towards the front section right here and fly through this wall, you'll actually see an assortment of gyroscopes are stuck in here. This is its main gyroscope bulk, but we also have what is a remote control block stuck right here. Let me press L and turn on my flashlight. This is a, there we go, remote control block. Ahead of this, we actually have a reactor. This is actually the same in both sections of the ship, the front and the back. And this has a connector that leads us out to a small cargo container, so you can actually access the reactor from there. You'll also see that this is the front of the ship because we have its singular little camera. If we go ahead and fly ourselves through here and head along to the back of the ship, you'll see that I put a a cockpit in right here to facilitate mainly just this video. Long term, I do not plan to have a cockpit here at all. The blueprint that'll be up in the workshop won't even have a cockpit here. This is just so I can actually fly it around more easily and have the camera stay connected to it. If you're to fly in behind this though, you will see that this section is different. Instead of having all those gyroscopes here, now we have a larger open space with an antenna reaching back. Mind you, we still do have a few gyroscopes here, and if we head through here and turn our light back on, you'll still see we have yet another reactor, another connector, or conveyor I should say, and another cargo container. I should also point out something you probably saw in there. Let me just fly through a few walls here. That we do have 4 jump drives at the front of the ship and the back of the ship in this same configuration. So basically this ship has 2 pretty much self-sufficient sections, that front section and that back section. The only thing that would happen if this was severed is you would basically lose antenna control from there to the remote control block. But if you had gone ahead and stuck a cockpit on each section, they could function on their own. Now, really quickly, I'm going to go ahead and bring my main character over here and hop in the cockpit. That way we can actually take this thing for a spin. So control space, and let's go ahead and do a F6, grab our character and fly him or her, well, it's a him I guess currently, and do an F and hop in here. Now we're going to press V, of course, and go to third person. And now we should be able to zoom out a little bit. Unfortunately, I have run into a new issue today with this wonderful game, and that's my mouse is not functioning because the gamepad is functioning. It appears that sometime in the last week or so, the game has changed in a way to where you cannot be using both the mouse and the gamepad at the same time. So we're going to have to go down to controls and really quickly disable the Xbox One controller. And then go ahead and press OK on that. And I did all that using the arrow keys on the keyboard because you couldn't use the mouse. And now the mouse is functioning once again. So you can see I can rotate like this, but now the gamepad has no function. Anyhow, let's go ahead and move this away from the sage station right away. So you can see here, I'm simply moving sideways via the thrusters that I mentioned. And overall, I adore this thing even from afar. And the fact that we have all of these interesting patterns, all these little ribs, and the way the light hits off of them, and you get these almost optical illusions of lines moving up and down along the thing. And it's an absolutely beautiful sight. And of course, we can go ahead and begin propelling ourselves forward, which is a, well, enjoyable thing to do. And you can see the thrusters do indeed work in the center as well, propelling us without any sort of issue. In fact, we could go ahead, do an F7, and simply leave our camera right here for a moment so we can see this thing fly on its own from afar. Because it is quite the interesting sight to see this thing from afar changing and moving. A very, very odd sight, honestly, because it is a very strange ship. One that I am honestly very proud of because of its uniqueness. And it's something I've unfortunately not done too much of as of late, just building ships and also just trying to build a ship that I enjoy aesthetically and not really care at all about its purpose. Unfortunately, I've gotten hung up on that quite a bit recently, thinking about what a ship is supposed to do instead of just simply building it. It's a very odd structure to see flying about. Let's go ahead and return ourselves simply to third-person view on this ship here and continue flying it about a little bit, because I suspect what most people would like to see is, even though it is just an interesting sight to see, they would like to, most definitely, see it crash into something. So, what we have are a few other structures floating about, other types of this that I've been fiddling with and may complete in the future for maybe a Skiew too. Let's go ahead, line ourselves up just as the thunder strikes in real life, and have a small amount of impact, shall we? There we go, and it tore right off the wing. So you can see, similar to, oh, what was it called? The completely random large drone, CRLD, or curled, as some might have called it. This thing can actually go ahead and do a fair few impacts, rams, or whatever it pleases, without really worrying about becoming immobile instantaneously, long as it doesn't lose its remote control block or its antennae. Or in this case, in this modified version, long as it doesn't lose the cockpit I just stuck on there. Anyway, guys and gals, I just thought I would relatively quickly show you this ship that I built, as I do like it. If you'd like to go ahead and get your hands on this oddity and just mess about with it, weaponize it, or just use it as your floating cargo ship to store something odd in the center of it, well, it'll be up on the workshop, and there'll be a link down in the description below so you can get your hands on it. Thank you a bunch for watching, and I shall see you guys and gals next time. Ta-ta.